Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Riverside International Raceway in Riverside, California, as we are here for the second race in the 2022 Haas IndyCar Series. This is NAPA, Indy, California. 19 laps around this 2.69 mile road course. This former road course. It does not exist anymore in real life, but it does live on in this game, and we've been coming here in the Haas IndyCar Series since at least 2017, if not before then. But it's a great road course, and we're going to have another great one here today. It's our first road course race of the season as well, so the first time we've seen the road course cars in action here in the Haas IndyCar Series since 2020. But alongside Micah Knapp once again. Micah, how do you think this one's going to play out? It's a lot different than what we saw last week at the Auto Club Speedway. Passing is a little bit difficult, but still, it's a very high-speed road course here, and these guys have to be careful when maneuvering around this place.
Yeah, I was about to say just that. It's a very high-speed road course. And in contrast to that, the final corner, very tightening and just treacherous. These drivers are going to have to navigate the fast-flowing nature of the track and try and figure out a way by the competition.
Yeah, and the last time we were here back in 2020, we did have some issues around some of the corners around this racetrack, so you got to be careful. When you come off of the S's and make that sharp right-hand corner right there, that is the most treacherous part on this racetrack. You're going really high speed at the slowest corner on the racetrack, and sometimes these drivers just miss it a little bit. They undershoot the corner, get into the gravel, and slide up into the wall. So it's all gravel and wall here. There's no grass, so you get stuck in that gravel. Doesn't really work out for your car too well. In the point standings, of course, it's only after one race, but the point standings still going to be a major factor in who wins this championship, obviously. But it's going to be a major factor this entire season. And Zachary Fitzwater got off on the right foot last week by winning that California 100. He has 52 points towards the championship. J Knapp is 11 points behind. Logan Williams is 16 points behind. Cole Raymond is 19 points behind. And Thomas Troxel is 21 points behind coming into today's event. It's going to be interesting to see who gets it done here in this one, though, because we got a lot of different faces up front in today's event, including our pole sitter, Brandon Nelson, who won the pole in yesterday's group qualifying session. He was the fastest driver in the Fast 6 shootout, grabbed his fastest lap on his fourth lap out, so he's got a lot of late speed in that number 22 machine, alongside Logan Williams, who was one of those drivers who had a very good run at Auto Club last week. Because he's only 16 points behind, he could easily take the points lead if things go his way here today. Row number 2, Nathan Faden, who was the fastest driver in both of his sessions leading into the Fast 6 shootout. He's going to be starting third alongside his teammate J Knapp, who finished second at Auto Club last weekend. He also has an opportunity of taking the points lead here today. Ryan Rodriguez alongside Caleb Rose in row number 3. Zach Winkle and Trey Smith make up row number 4. And then the Bratton Autosport teammates of Justin Zeidel, who won here in 2018 alongside Noah Clifton. We have a couple past winners of this race in this field, including Justin Zeidel and Richard Kinghart. The only downside for Kinghart is he is starting kind of midway through the field, and it is difficult to work your way through the field here at Riverside. Well, it's a 19-lap race. Fuel window is about 14 to 16 laps, so that fuel window is going to be right near the end of the race. That'll definitely play into who gets the race victory. But speaking of which, Micah, who do you think is going to go to victory lane here today in Napa, Indy, California?
Well, it's hard to say. I'd like anybody in that top 4 or 5 because they've got the best track position, but look out for Justin Zeidel. He had a good run to start last week, and then just kind of luck did not go his way, so see if he can get it done today at a track that he's won at in the past.
We'll just have to see. Zeidel, of course, wrecked out on the last lap of the race. Of course, he still was able to finish, or actually, he didn't finish very well in that race. Finished 18th, but he did manage to get a good starting position for this race. I'm in the mindset of this is the Wawa Pro Series, and the starting lineup determined by the last race finishing results for some reason. That is not the case. The Haas IndyCar Series has done a little bit more old school here. But Zeidel did get a pretty decent starting position in qualifying. He will be starting in the 9th position here today in Napa, Indy, California. Of course, he's won here before. Of course, Eric Monica's another guy who has had success here before. We all remember 2018 when he came down on the last lap, however. He's actually starting pretty deep in the field. It might be difficult for him to get anything to go his way here. But it's a 19-lap race, the longest race we've ever done here before. We added 4 laps to this event from past years, so that will also play into effect on who gets the race victory. You have to be careful throughout this entire race if you're going to get the race win. Brandon Nelson is fast. Of course, we know Logan Williams is fast as well this season. And Logan Williams, Jay Knapp there on that outside lane, definitely going to be going for the points lead here in today's event. It's the first road course race of the season. First of 10 road course races that we will have throughout the season, and one of 8 road courses we will be going to. So it should be a fun one here in Napa, Indy, California. Brandon Nelson and Logan Williams on the front row. We're green flag racing at the Riverside International Raceway. Oh, and Brandon Nelson went off a little bit there, but not enough to impede his progress. And Nelson pulling out to a significant lead early on here in Napa, Indy, California. But this was the corner that I was talking about, that very treacherous corner right there. They're going high speed into that sharp right-hander, but everyone will get through it cleanly. But Brandon Nelson from the pole out to a huge lead here on the first lap of the race.
Yeah, he certainly lucked out. It looked like he'd gone off the track, and then just the natural flow and direction of the racetrack kind of caught him at the perfect time, and he just ended up right back on the track. So if you're going to go off, I guess that's the way to do it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Those S's are very high speed, and they're very technical. Some of the most technical parts on the entire circuit of the Haas IndyCar series, but Nelson was able to work it to his favor, and he's going to get a bonus point towards the championship. Another one on top of the one he got for winning the pole for leading a lap here at Riverside. Landon, or should I say Logan Williams there, right behind him. And then you got Nathan Faden right behind Logan Williams. There's a battle on for second place. Jay Knapp there in fourth, and then Brian Rodriguez rounding out the top 5 with Caleb Rose, Zach Winkle, Trey Smith, Noah Clifton with a good run, and there's Landon Smith Jr. rounding out the top 10. Justin Seidel fell back quite a bit there on the start of the race, and he's outside the top 10 right now there in a battle with Cole Raymond for about the 14th position.
Yeah, it's very hard to make up ground here at Riverside. Not a lot of heavy braking zone. It's very flowing, and you've got to time your moves just right if you want to make any sort of ground. That 0-0 car, looking like he's gonna. He's in the toe of the 18, so let's see what he's going to do, if anything, to try and make a pass.
That's an interesting place to make a move right there, just before the kink. He's going to go inside the final corner, though, and it looks like he is going to get that inside lane to work to his advantage, and he's going to take second right away. Now, Nathan Faden, like we mentioned, had essentially been the fastest driver all throughout qualifying yesterday in both round 1A, which was the round he was in, and then round number 2. So we're going to have to see how well Nathan Faden can maneuver this race here today, but that 0-0 is definitely a fast car. Logan Williams almost got back to the inside of him, but he couldn't do it. Now you got Jay Knapp here in the 81 trying to close in on Logan Williams. They actually have closed in on Brandon Nelson, though, so Nelson hasn't pulled away anymore from the original jump that he got at the start of this race, but it's going to be a long one, and Nathan Faden might be closing in, possibly have a shot at this race victory. Of course, that cycle of pit stops could also get very interesting. Got Scott Upton here, just outside the top 10. Nicholas Samadia there started in the 12th position. He's won a road course race before, a couple of them actually, at Sonoma and Portland. Those are very different racetracks than what we're racing on here today, but can't help but think of Sonoma when I see a race here at Riverside. It has a very similar feel, just like a supersized Sonoma in a way. Cole Raymond and Justin Seidel. Raymond has been able to surpass the number 5 there. That is for the 13th position, but Seidel going to look back to the inside of him, but this is midway through the field, and only unless they pull some strategy in this race, they might not have a good opportunity of getting the race victory here today at Riverside. Go through the whole field, and it looks like everyone is still out there, so no incidents on the racetrack yet. But Nathan Faden is closing in here on Brandon Nelson, and that might pressure Nelson into a mistake if he's not careful, and that 0-0 is closing in. Now, Brandon Nelson has never won a race before on the channel. He's going for his first career win. Nathan Faden going for his second career IndyCar Series race victory, and his third race victory on the channel, but might be a battle between these two guys here at Riverside here today in this Napa, Indy, California.
Yeah, Faden's got a really fast car. You see him in the tow down the straights. It's going to be really important as we have a pass for 5th place.
Caleb Rose there on Brian Rodriguez for 5th. See if he has the inside lane. Can have a nose of the inside right there and take it away.
Yeah, peeking in there, just coming off that final banked corner. It almost looks like an oval track in reverse as they're still side by side through turn number 1. Rose is going to have to duck back in.
He's unable to get the pass there on Rodriguez, and that's the thing. It is difficult to make a pass here at Riverside, even though it looks like it should be easier than that. You see Winkle there was not, or should I say, Rose was unable to keep it on the inside of Brian Rodriguez, and Rodriguez was able to work that outside lane to his advantage. Winkle's up here, Trey Smith with a good run, Noah Clifton and Lance Jr. Same top 10 right now, but we're only about a quarter of the way through this race here, so a lot can happen between now and the finish. But the nice thing is about this race is we have yet to see any sort of incident on the racetrack, so it's been a nice clean race. In years past, we've seen quite a few guys have issues and a lot of wild wrecks here because obviously this is a very high-speed road course, and when they wreck here, it's very violent. But thankfully, it's been a pretty clean one so far. But Nelson, definitely the start of this race is going to definitely tell the tale on how well he does in the rest of this event, and the fact that he's able to get that good jump on the start has been able to help him out in keeping that number 22 ahead by a pretty significant distance ahead of this field. So once you get later on into a run, it's a little bit hard to make a move on a guy and close up on him, and eventually all these guys kind of settle into their respective positions, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now, and it happened quite early, especially for the race leader, because of that good jump that Brandon Nelson had.
And I was worried in regards to Nelson, if that off-track excursion on the first lap was going to hinder him at all, but he has not let that affect his race so far, and in fact, he's pulled away from the 00 of Nathan Faden in the last couple of laps. So
I think
we'll have to see what he keeps doing.
I think the last lap, Nathan Faden may have actually had a run on that 22 machine and was unable to actually make a pass, and that ended up hindering his progress a little bit. So Faden may have the faster car, and both of these guys were obviously very fast yesterday. But we'll have to see if that translates into a race victory for either of those guys. Rose has actually lost a little bit of ground to Brian Rodriguez right here. And they're pretty much single file throughout the majority of the field. There's Zachary Fitzwater, our last winner here in the Haas IndyCar Series. Got that race victory at Auto Club. Hasn't really found too much success so far this weekend at Riverside, as he is significantly deep in the field. Back in 20th, Chris Reynolds back in there. And Eric Monaco, who's had success here before in the past, but not running as well today. Elijah Gordon back in here. Brock Nelson, that's Brandon's brother, who is on the opposite end of the spectrum here. The Riverside International Raceway right now. We got Angel Oliveira and last year's Indy 250 champion Ethan Lewis. His first ever road course race in an IndyCar. He's currently running in the last position, but everybody within 13 seconds of each other, 7 laps into this race. Faden is closing in again here, so we'll have to see if maybe the next time around he has a shot at getting around this 22 for the race lead. You got to think we're about halfway until we get to that cycle of pit stops, and that is really what's going to determine the winner of this race.
Yeah, you've got to nail pit road, especially because this is such a fast lap here at Riverside, as the 00 closing in on our leader, heading through turn number 1. He's going to keep it really tight to his back gearbox. So they head up through the S's. Gonna have to keep it really close so that you can get a good run down that back straightaway.
And you get a good tow down that back straightaway. They hit upwards of 200 miles per hour into the final corner. That is really fast for a road course. And you got to be careful not to get into each other either. Like we said, those wrecks can be something else. Landon's, or should I say, that's the second time I've done that. Logan Williams. The name starts with an L, and it's not Landon. It's Logan Williams. In the 18, still running 3rd, and JNAP still running in 4th. So watch out for those two guys once we get to this cycle. Faden actually lost a little bit of ground there to Brandon Nelson through the other side of the racetrack, and because of that, not going to have the advantage of possibly closing in on Nelson this lap, but he seems to have a lot of speed heading into this final corner through the kink there down the backstretch, and that brings him just a little bit closer back into Brandon Nelson. But Nelson is also fast. You got to remember, he got his fastest lap in the Fast 6 shootout on his 4th lap out there, and he was really the only guy to have a fast lap that late into the session.
Yeah, and it's difficult because once you start getting that heavy tire wear, it affects the handling of the car a lot more. So the fact that Nelson is able to get quicker as the run goes on, at least in theory, that could really play into to how he does the pit strategy.
It definitely could. We'll have to see, though, if any of these guys... Some of these guys might only take a couple tires, and I know in real life that isn't accurate to an IndyCar race, but this is a NASCAR simulator, and sometimes the option of 2 tires is there, so that also plays an effect, at least here in the Haas IndyCar series, so watch out for a little bit of strategy play. Some drivers may go fuel only as well, but I don't know if that's what you want to do. But with it being a higher speed road course, the tire wear might not be as significant per se as it would be on a more technical road course that we might go to, say like Lime Rock. But Faden's closing back in, and how about Rodriguez closing in on J Knapp as well? And this right here might just be the closest Faden has been so far in this race to finally getting around Brandon Nelson. Like I said, this is a very technical part of the racetrack here, and if Faden can actually keep on the gearbox of Nelson heading into this sharp right-hander, Faden might actually have a shot down the backstretch at possibly taking this race lead away, and Logan Williams starting to close back in as well. So these top 5, I think these top 5 can still win this race if they play the strategy into their hands. And anything can happen in this final 10 laps. Anything can happen, because obviously 2018, we thought Eric Monaco was going to win. He came down on that final lap. Nathan Faden was able to stay a little bit closer that time, but he's still not quite there, getting a pass there on the 22 of Brandon Nelson. This is the closest he has been so far in this race to maybe having a shot at getting around this 22 machine. Ooh, it's going to be tight here off the corner.
He's got a bit of a nose to the inside. Can he sort of get it up underneath the 22? He cannot, but this is as close as they've been going through turn number 1. Nathan Faden trying around the outside, not enough room.
Right there, that inside lane works so much better than the outside does, and Faden's going to lose all that momentum that he had, and Logan Williams able to close in. And how about this? Caleb Rose in the 55 might get around Rodriguez here. Not able to do it, and J Knapp's going to get around Logan Williams, and Williams overshot that right-hander, and now J Knapp, who's Faden's teammate there at Shane Lake's team, up to 3rd in the podium position. Looking to get 2 podiums in a row. Of course, Logan Williams is trying to do the same thing as well, so we'll have to see if they can in fact finish in those respective positions. But I got a little antsy right there, and look at this. All these guys are right on each other, from Clifton on up. They're all on the number 81 here of J Knapp, and then you have Nelson and Faden who have pulled away a little bit, but it's going to be interesting. This cycle of pit stops will more than determine who gets this race victory, and any of these guys still have a great opportunity at getting it done here. But Nelson was able to pull away there from Faden, as Faden was just not in the right place there heading into that first corner through the S's. But these 3 guys all on each other right here. Rose was unable to get around Rodriguez, and Rodriguez closed in there on Logan Williams, but now Rose is closing back in on Rodriguez, and Zach Winkle's here as well, looking to make a move.
Yeah, and I think once you get that run, if you don't time it just right, you lose all your momentum.
And there we go.
Oh my goodness.
Caleb Rose able to get to the inside of Rodriguez. That is for the 5th position, I should say. And Winkle may also have a shot at Rodriguez here as they go down the backstretch.
Yeah, very close quarters racing. I'm surprised, and they might have made contact, but it didn't look like it. I'm surprised that everybody got through that okay. That corner with the wall right there to catch you off guard, that's quite a dangerous section of track to make a pass on.
Absolutely. So now Caleb Rose able to finally get around Rodriguez for a top 5 run. See what he can do as this race goes along. He seems to have a pretty fast race car. Was in the Fast 6 yesterday. As a matter of fact, the 6 guys who are in the Fast 6 are still top 6 in this race. So no one who failed to make the Fast 6 have even gotten into the top 6 in this race at any point here today. Zach Winkle, Trey Smith. Trey Smith closing in a little bit there on Winkle. Then you got Clifton and Landon Smith Jr. There's a bit of a gap there back to Scott Upton and Nicholas Amadio. But everyone's relatively stayed in their same positions, but I think a lot's going to change once we get to this cycle of pit stops. That move there that Faden tried to make, that really hurt his chances of getting around Nelson, at least before the cycle. I think Nelson might have a little bit of time to breathe here, but Faden definitely trying to shake up this field on the cycle. And I mean, Jay Knapp's also going to have a good opportunity at this race victory as well. So it's just going to come down to how the strategy plays out, how well the pit stops are executed. It's a tight pit lane, and sometimes we can see a lot of contact on the pit lane here at Riverside. So that's another thing these guys have to worry about, because there's not much room to get your car into those pit stalls. But we're coming in. I think next time by, we will more than likely see this cycle begin. And Faden is starting to close back in a little bit. He gained about 0.3 of a second that last lap. That 00, I think, is faster than Nelson, but it's just so hard to make a pass here at Riverside that Nelson's been able to keep him behind. And now you got Caleb Rose looking on Logan Williams for 4th. The top 3 are significantly faster than everybody else, and Rose is trying to join that top 3. Oh boy, that was not good. Logan Williams overshot the corner, and Rose is trying to get around him on the outside, and that put Rose in the wall, and now Rodriguez moving to the inside of Logan Williams. Zach Winkle is here trying to get a top 5 run, and Trey Smith is on Caleb Rose now. Yeah, and there might be damage to Caleb Rose as well after that.
I was about to say he might have damage to the left side of that car, but ever since Logan Williams briefly took second place from Nathan Faden, that incident in that really tight, treacherous turn kind of just set him into not a very good rhythm, and he's almost put it in reverse. We got some
now the cycle's going to begin. Trey Smith's going to stay out an extra lap here, so we'll have to see how that affects him, but a busy pit lane right here. Now, the good thing for Brandon Nelson, he has the first pit stall from winning the pole. That's going to make it easier for him to get in and out of his pit stall right here. Nathan Faden, though, is going to be right behind him. Jay Knapp, they all came in pretty much within a second of each other down the pit lane. Trey Smith will get a bonus point. He's going to lead a lap right there, so that's good news for Trey Smith in terms of the championship. Lap 15 of 19. Only 5 laps to go in this race. And here they come for the most crucial part of the race here at Riverside. Looks like all these guys are going to be taking at least 2 tires here. And of course, that's one thing, if I could change it, I'd try to make it 4, but that's a hard thing to do. Rodriguez with a good run. Contact between Rodriguez and Brandon Nelson off the pit lane. And that might hinder Rodriguez there, but is that going to hurt Brandon Nelson's chances? Nelson had a pretty clean pit stop. Rodriguez tried to jump the field there. But I'm wondering if he's got some wing damage on that number 13. That would definitely hinder his progress in this race if that were in fact the case. Logan Williams going to lose a couple of positions right there. Zach Winkle got around him. And now you got both Faden and Knapp kind of stuck behind Rodriguez, but the only guy really to get any sort of advantage was Rodriguez in that situation. The other 5 guys coming down: Trey Smith, Thomas Troxel, Zachary Fitzwater, Reggie Fogelman, and Eric Monaco. So we'll have to see if they maybe go fuel only on this stop. There goes Jay Knapp, or should I say Faden and Jay Knapp are side by side, and I'm pretty sure Jay Knapp's the one trying to get a position on Faden right here. We'll see if these guys go fuel only. And it looks like they are going fuel only, so they're trying to have a bit of a shorter stop. Trey Smith's going to come off the pit lane right here. We'll have to see where he blends in with the rest of the field. Nelson's going to come around right here. Rodriguez is still right there as well. And Jay Knapp has gotten around Nathan Faden. But will they get around Trey Smith, who at this point has gotten around that 22 machine? We're just going to have to see if the tires come into effect. Nelson got 2 tires there, so he's going to be a bit faster around this racetrack. But Trey Smith going fuel only there on that final stop, looking to steal this win here at Riverside.
And I was going to say, for Brandon Nelson, this would be the dream scenario. Your closest competition all day gets held up in the pits by a slower car, and you can just cruise on home to the victory. But that is not the case now with that 41, and now Nelson is going to have to chase him down. Let's see if he can do it.
Not only that, Thomas Troxel has found himself inside the top 5 with some strategy. And Troxel finished top 5 last week at California, too. At Auto Club, I should say. We're still in California. But how about this? Trey Smith in the number 41, going for his 5th career win on the channel and his first in an IndyCar. It's going to lead with 3 laps to go in NAPA, Indy, California. And he's got a significant lead there on Brandon Nelson. The only thing is, will Nelson have enough speed to close in? Rodriguez in a podium position right now is a true rookie. And they got Thomas Troxel there in 4th and Jay Knapp in 5th. Faden, who was 2nd most of this race, now down to 6th. Zach Winkle is 7th. How about Zachary Fitzwater, another guy who stayed a lap later? He's going to jump to 8th. Then Logan Williams and Reggie Fogelman, another guy who stayed out an extra lap. just inside the top 10. Rose is down to 11th. Eric Monaco also played that strategy. He's 12th. Then it's Landon Smith Jr., Noah Clifton, Scott Upton, Nicholas Samadio, Cole Raymond, Justin Zidell, Ethan Lewis, Jesse Turner, Ace Garcia, Chris Reynolds, Richard Kingart, Elijah Gordon, Brock Nelson, and Angel Olvera. All 26 drivers still out on the racetrack, still on the lead lap. And they're all led by Trey Smith. And it does appear that coming in a lap later and going fuel only was the right strategy. All the guys who did it significantly gained their positions on the racetrack. And we got a battle right here as Winkle has gotten around Nathan Faden. That's another position loss for Faden, who was second pretty much this entire race. Almost got the race lead. Now he's all the way down to the 7th position here at Riverside. A 1.6 second lead for Trey Smith here with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, heartbreak for that 00 team. And we'll see if Trey Smith can continue to hold on. He's hitting all of his marks. And I don't think that the lack of new tires is hindering him whatsoever, because that 22 car has not made a whole lot of progress the last couple laps.
No, not at all. It doesn't seem to be much of an advantage, and I think those guys who pulled that strategy knew that as well. How about this? We didn't even really see Trey Smith this entire race. And yet here he is with an opportunity at a race victory in his first of his career. But it's not over until they cross that checkered flag, and we know that very well here at Riverside. But Trey Smith at the number 41 going to take the white flag here in Napa, Indy, California. We'll see how much Brandon Nelson closed in this lap. And he closed in about 0.6 of a second. He's going to have to close in an entire second in one lap if he's going to win this race. He started on the pole. He was the dominant guy earlier on. But I just don't know if he's going to get this race victory.
I was going to say, not only is he going to have to close in a second, he's going to have to get around him. Catching him is one thing. Completing the pass here at Riverside is another thing.
And number 41 at Trey Smith. As we got another battle there. Faden getting back around Zach Winkle there. This championship battle is going to really be interesting, because those top 3 guys in points are all going to finish top 10 here today. It's going to be tight to see who's the points leader at the end of 2 races. Still early on in the season in terms of the championship. But Trey Smith's going to jump the field pretty well. And obviously, last week at Auto Club, he wrecked out on that final lap. He had a much better run going for him. Well, he's going to rebound from that, assuming he doesn't come down the pit lane right here. We've seen it happen before, but it's not going to happen today. Trey Smith wins Napa, Indy, California at Riverside. And Brandon Nelson's going to have to settle for second, as a battle for third between Rodriguez and Troxel is going to go to Brian Rodriguez. Troxel will finish 4th. And Jay Knapp will round out the top 5. Faden, Winkle, Fitzwater, Logan Williams, and Reggie Fogelman rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, it's such a heartbreaker for Brandon Nelson, leading pretty much the whole race, only to be squandered by strategy. But that's the risk you take by pitting before everybody else. You do not know what kind of calls everyone else is going to make. So, congratulations. And a brilliant call by the number 41 crew to stay out and take fuel only.
Ryan Durrani going to get a win as an owner with Trey Smith there in the number 41 Haas team. The Haas car winning here in the Haas IndyCar Series. How about that? Another thing that's very impressive is that everybody stayed in the race, finished on the lead lap. No incidents in this event. Of course, we were on the road course, no cautions regardless, but we didn't need him today. Didn't need him anyway. How about Trey Smith, though, and that number 41 machine? A great run for him. Pulling that strategy to perfection. Now, if there was one more lap in this race, I do imagine that Brandon Nelson would have gotten it. But
it would have been very close.
It would have been close. He gained another 0.6 of a second right there. And if you do the math, he would have technically been ahead of Trey Smith. But like you said, passing the guy is another thing. And especially here at Riverside, you can do it. It's definitely possible. But it's a lot harder than it looks here. But what a race there for Trey Smith. I didn't even see that coming. I didn't think we were going to see that kind of strategy play out. But it does appear that tires really don't mean that much here at Riverside. That's not going to be the case throughout the entire season, of course. But that was not the case here at the Riverside International Raceway.
Yeah, I just want to shout Ethan Lewis, who first road course race in the IndyCar Series here. Went from dead last on the grid to a top 20, so excellent run by that number 11.
Yeah, he's still finding his way in terms of the full season, and of course we will be going back to Indianapolis as well later on in May. But our next race here in the Haas IndyCar Series is going to be at Texas 2 weeks from now, so we're going to take a week off here from the Haas IndyCar Series, get some Wawa Pro Series stuff done as well in the meantime. But heading to Texas is going to be another place. That race may play out a lot like Auto Club did. Obviously, we're going to, reduce the grip a little bit again on the racetrack to make sure it's not a complete cycle pack race. We don't particularly like those types of races in IndyCar, but we're excited to see how it all goes down for the Fort Worth 125K 2 weeks from now from the Texas Motor Speedway. But either way, Trey Smith gets it done here at the Riverside International Raceway. Brandon Nelson almost had a perfect race, but couldn't beat the strategy by Trey Smith there at the end, and that is going to hinder Brandon Nelson just a little bit. He's going to gain a good amount of points, though. He's still going to get 41 points here. Actually, probably 42 points. He did lead the most laps in this race. Actually, probably 43 points because he also won the pole. So he's going to get a lot of points this weekend. And he came into this race 10th in points. So Nelson's going to put himself up there in the point standings. Trey Smith's going to do the same. Zachary Fitzwater, who was really deep in the field in this race, was also on that same strategy as Trey Smith, and he's going to get a lot of points as well. Jay Knapp, Logan Williams all finishing top 10. They're all going to be up there. But it's only, after 2 races, we'll have 18 left to go, including the Indianapolis 250 this season. So there's a lot of racing left until the crown of champion in late August here in the Haas IndyCar Series. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. A huge thanks to Mike and Nap for joining me here for the call of Napa, Indy, California. And we will see you guys 2 weeks from now from the Texas Motor Speedway in the Fort Worth 125K. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Trying to do better the next time. Congratulations to Trey Smith. Here are the points for the Haas IndyCar Series, and I will see you guys later.